Well, hi there. We're starting early because we always start early because starting early allows us to take care of things like that. Ah, let's see. We got sound. That's a good thing. And we got a topic. And Jason is here, and Jason just upgraded to Tarpon. Welcome, Jason. Nice to have you with us. 3G, Purge. Hey, Purge. And who else is here? Alice B. Getting ready for work. 80 degrees in the Pacific Northwest. Well, it was a little warmer than that today. We got a break because it rained a bit. It's been pushing 100 most of the week. So it's been pretty uncomfortable. Fire Brothers, Fire Bros. So we can get Fire Bros a wrench here. Can I do it? I can do it. I can do it right there. Who else is new? Ed the drunk. Now, Ed, I've given you a wrench before. So if that's true, I have. And if you don't have it, then you need to uh, become a subscriber on the Father Fish channel. That's why you're not keeping it. Hello, T. Tom. Craig's Catfish Cave is here. Mighty Mike, Paul Cohen, Alice B. Margie K. Hello, Margie. First time. Nice to have you here. We'll get you a wrench. Everybody gets to be a moderator on the Father Fish channel. That's because everybody is trusted until they're not. And then they're not by everybody. So it works out pretty well. Daraj Gohil. Gohil, gotta allowed to say your last name. Daraj from India. Nice to have you with us, Daraj. See if I can get you a wrench. Yes. It may take a while to turn blue. YouTube is not what you're drinking. Diet lemonade mixed with diet green tea. It's my drink of choice. Hey, John McElroy. Nice to see you. Big Coco. Hello, Big Coco. We're getting a bunch of new folks in. Natalie Goyan. New fish person just setting up your first tank. Wow, that's exciting. That's exciting. I hope it's going well. And I hope you're on Discord, the Father Fish Shoal. It's a great way to be able to get the kind of help you really need that just makes it work. I mean, once in a while, there are a few people over there who think they know more than they actually do. But by and large, it's pretty good and pretty trustworthy. So by all means, join us. Why can I not? There it is. Join us on the Father Fish Shoal. I'm going to post the link here in about a third of a second, maybe longer. There it is. Okay, Natalie, I gave you a wrench. I did. And Big Coco and John McElroy. And Rogerio Lima in Brazil. Nice to have you with us, Rogerio. Oh, Rogerio. Joseph Etheridge. Hello, Joseph. I'm passing out wrenches here. That's why I'm acting like I'm talking funny. Wallerfish. Wallerfish. Hello, hello. Wallerfish. Gets a wrench. Now, if you are new to the channel and have not subscribed to the channel, do if you would like to keep your wrench. Reddened beard. Glad your plants are doing well, reddened beard. Yeah, we do a really good job with plants. The plants you get today were growing and stretching in a pond in Florida 2 days earlier. So they're about as fresh as you can get. Oh dear God. Natalie's saying pet store told her to scrub everything, which killed everything. You tell your pet store that fish need dirt. If it's not dirty, they're not going to survive. They are not lab experiments. They're living animals that require a living environment in order to be able to be happy and satisfied and thrive. Not some kind of hospital room. Great Dane's creation. Advice on switching from CO2 to all natural. If you're just going to do it without breaking down your tank and starting over, then the simplest way to go from CO2 injection to natural is to add 2 inches of sand on top of your current substrate, whatever it is, providing it's not 2 inches of sand, in which case that would be duplicitous. Beauregard reptiles. Hello, Beauregard. Thank you, sir. We got to get you a wrench here. Again, make sure you subscribe on our YouTube channel, Erie First, in order to be able to keep your wrench. Hello, Scott Stankovich. Fun day. Happy Sunday. Fun day, Father Fish. Great Dane's creation. We did that. Switching from CO2 to all natural. The idea is you're going to block oxygen from accessing your substrate. That automatically creates CO2, and it will create a larger volume of CO2 than your mechanical device is capable of doing. 2 other added benefits. Number 1, it doesn't mess with the pH the way adding CO2 to the air to the water column does. And number 2, it delivers the CO2 to the roots, which are able to take it up directly. The roots of plants, that's right. The roots of plants absorb CO2 directly from the substrate. So if you're producing it in the substrate, you're getting it to the plants without increasing the CO2 in your water column, which has a negative, or dare I say deleterious effect on the fish and other inverts. Hello, Jenny. Delighted to see you, Jenny. Mattis Factory. Where are you at in the PNW? Oh, talking to Alex. Pacific Northwest, right. Natalie. Hello, Natalie. We said hello, Natalie, and we gave her a wrench, and she's got it already. Oh, Ken Herman. Start my first NA in 2 weeks when you move. Bravo. Gives you lots of chance to get it all together. And get your plants in so you'll have them ready to put into the tank immediately. My fish eat fish and bird. The end. Well, mine do too, or at least they used to. I don't I don't much feed it anymore. Vicky Sina. Can red plants survive in non-CO2 planet with aquasoil? Well, provided you've got do two things: cap the aquasoil with 2 inches of sand. That will protect it from completely washing out and losing all of its nutrients into the water column. Number one. Number two, it will also prevent it from turning to mud quite so quickly. And when it does, it will be able to sustain itself as soil by virtue of all of the precipitative muck. What's the word? Detritus sifting down through the sand into that aquasoil. So it will become a soil base after 6 months to a year, at which time typically it would be completely depleted of nutrients by virtue of having it washed into the water column. So cap that aquasoil with 2 inches of sand. They don't tell you to do that because they want you to believe that you can put dirt in your tank and everything will be wonderful. Not that it's dirt. It's not dirt. It's fake dirt. Fake dirt, right? It is a clay-like material that has nutrients injected into it by virtue of being, I don't know how they do this. They mix it in, and then as they dry it, they turn it into pellets. It's weird stuff. It is the human equivalent of God-given earth, if you can imagine that. And that's actually precisely what it is. It is an attempt by manufacturers to create soil, except it ain't anywhere near as good as soil. And it costs a whole lot more than soil, but it's not better. I'm here to tell you. So you want to cap it. 2 inches of sand on top of that aqua soil that will protect it, that will allow it to retain its nutrients so that they will be able to be delivered to the plant roots and not simply to the water column. And it will create then a stable, solid, dependable, long-term substrate that will function as a deep-darted substrate. So it ain't a bad thing. It's just that you need to use it properly. Kind of a long, protracted solution there. We need to mark this. We need to mark this because we need to get, I'm going to do this as we go along if I can think of it. My brain works. Where are we at? That's at 5:56 or thereabouts. Is it? We'll get to the bottom. No, 6:01. 6:00. That is capping aqua soil. We'll be able to get a short with that. Good deal. Okay. What else do we have here? Do I need an air stone in my tank? Says Natalie. The need for an air stone would be brought about by there being exceptional pressure on the oxygen level of the water. That would mean that you've got more oxygen consuming animals in the water than the natural exchange of oxygen and CO2 can achieve. It doesn't hurt ever to put an air stone. I prefer to an air stone a sponge filter. It accomplishes the same thing as the air stone, and it also creates another biological system for consuming nitrates and breaking down waste in the water column. So air stone or sponge filter, I would prefer a sponge filter personally. It's kind of your call. Hello, KS Reaper. Nice to see you, Paul. Paul Cohen is here. Paul says, Natalie, my local fish store thinks I'm crazy too. Well, we'll all be crazy together. Laranja 3 says, can I just go out there and grab some sand from the mouth of a river? The mouth of a river is typically a delta in salt water. So if you're setting up a saltwater tank, then yeah, by all means. If you're setting up a freshwater tank, then you want to go well upriver, far enough to get above tidal water. That may be many miles, or at least some miles. The other, the benefit of doing that is you're collecting and gathering live sand, sand that has bacteria and microfauna, fungus, and the like living in it, and that's extremely beneficial. If you're at the delta, at the mouth of the river, then you are where the river effluents into the sea, whether you're on an ocean or the Gulf or wherever. That's going to be salt water, or at least highly brackish. It's a very, very, very brackish. You don't want that for a freshwater tank. The flora is all wrong, the fauna is all wrong, and the general hardness is all wrong. So, but for a saltwater tank, it's absolutely perfect. And if you're setting up a saltwater tank that way, you want a minimum of 4 inches of that sand. Take the sand out of the water, not off the beach. You want to go out into the water, dig down 4 to 6 inches, and get that deeper sand that has nutrients in it. Then you can bring back some of the shallow sand to cap it all off if you like. Same thing would apply for freshwater upriver, well upriver. Now, if you don't want to go through all of that, simply go high on the beach, beyond which the tide does not come, way up in the dunes, that's all washed by rainwater, and collect that sand. That sand is absolutely perfect for a fresh or a saltwater tank for that matter. If you're doing a saltwater tank, you're going to that trouble. You're wasting valuable effort by not getting wet sand from the sea, because that is so vastly superior as to be not even comparable. It will instantly balance your aquarium. Yeah, all right, moving right along. New house, lock and key. Questions. My male betta has seen his female. They flirted, but he never made a bubble nest. It could be that she's not ready to spawn. Look at her vent and see if there's a white spot. If there is a white spot, that's an egg. It's an egg spot. That means she is ready. If she's not, you need to separate her out and feed her heavily on high protein food, preferably worms if you can get some kind of worm. Uh, Scrunch up fish, scrape shrimp, that kind of thing. High protein. And fresh meat protein, excuse me, if you can do it. Dooby dooby doo. Also, if he is not blowing a bubble nest, I don't want to get into it. What I would do is separate the two of them and feed them both heavily. Get them really beefed up. Get them strong and healthy and vibrant. And get the testosterone and the estrogen flowing so they're ready to go. And then put her in with him. You want him in the tank that you want the babies born in, which means you need him in a tank that has mulm in the bottom, that's got all of the microfauna that those babies are going to need. Because I'm going to tell you something, you're not going to be able to feed their babies. They are way, way too tiny. But if you have a good solid mulm base down there, it will be full of the right size food for those babies. Once they have spawned, take her out. And then leave him in there and just let him do his thing. He will take care of them all the way through them becoming free swimming. Is there a way to breed the food for the fish in the tank? Funny you should ask. I have a video, the last two videos, in fact, on the YouTube channel are all about just exactly that. You might check out those videos. Pedro Samoas. Hello, hello. Simos. Pedro. Give you a wrench. Jenny likes the mug. Oh, here. Ta-da. For an extra buck in your next order, I will send you one of our new stickers. Right there it is. Isn't that pretty? $1. And if you want 5, do $5. There's a special, it's not that blurry. Boy, is that blurry. I don't know if I can clear that up. Why is it blurry? Huh. It's supposed to be autofocus. I guess it's autofocus on me. I don't know. Anyway. I don't want to look at that anymore. So that's what I've got on my mug. I stuck one of these on my mug. On the other side of the mug is Mr. Bo. That's a big, heavy mug, too. I really like that. I will like Mr. Bo. So, I will be at the Keystone Clash in 2 weeks, and I'll have lots of these stickers, and I hope some other giveaways as well. We'll see how all that goes. Maybe a spider. Is gonna get gone. Poor spider. We're just going to report him. How's that? By misinformation. There we go. Hate speech or graphic violence. Shall I call it that? Harassment or bullying. There it is. Choose one. Suicide or self injury. Misinformation. Whatever. Harassment or bullying. Choose one. Harassing. Me. Right. He's harassing everybody. Report. Bye, guy. And then we're going to hide him so he can't come back. This is the value. Now you got it. Of everybody having a wrench. It means all of you get to be monitors. Man Cave Motorsports. I would get a power inverter for the car. Yeah, that's a good idea. That's what I do. I have power inverters. Then you can plug these little pumps in. How did you get rid of brown algae? Tank is 2 months old. Who do you get rid of brown algae? Who do you get rid of brown algae? Funny question. 6-speed. You just need to allow the tank to rebalance. Generally, you get bad algae like that because you're overfeeding your fish. There's just too much nutrition in the tank. So cut way back on feeding. It's amazing how many problems are caused by excess food in the tank. And I just got some dead leaves from a lake or river and put them in the tank. You absolutely can, Natalie. Gutsy girl, Natalie. You go, girl. Yes, absolutely. Carlos, Convetta splendens, hybridized with a coquina complex. I do not believe so. I think it's a different genetic. They may try to spawn, although their spawning behavior is also not identical. So that probably won't work. Yeah, I need to get some of the oddball species of bettas. Let's see. Master Sheep Edits. Need to get a wrench. Wrench. Standard moderator. Father Fish. Wanted to thank you for advice. I'm currently making a Costa Rican paludarium with only Costa Rican animals, and I was wondering if you knew any cleaner fish from Costa Rica. Cleaner fish from Costa Rica. Ooh. Cleaner fish from Costa. That's a really good one. Let's see what happens if we Google cleaner. We'll say tropical fish from Costa Rica. Well, isn't that nice? Okay, we got to show you this. How am I going to do it? Just going to take some jujitsu here. Hold on, we're going to do this. Why am I not in the studio? This is peculiar. I'm not in the studio. Oh, there it is. Okay. Let's get rid of this before I screw things up royally. Settings. That ain't what I want. I want preset settings and what? Preset? Invite? Share screen. Yeah, there it is. Oh, here we go. We got it. We got it. Okay, look at that. Oh, dear God. Well, this is interesting. Can I do this? I already did it. Why is it not coming up? The delay is just mind-boggling. On well, it's that's interesting. It's a video by Corey where he's talking about. Look at that tank. Now look at that tank. Is that 50% plants back there? I mean, just look at that. That poor struggling plant in there with a bunch of goldfish. They're not going to eat on it. Look at this. Hillstream Loach. Are you seeing this? I don't know. I think it's not working. For some reason, it ain't working right. All right. How do we get rid of that? And then I need to move that. Go back to where I was. And then find myself here. Okay. Now let's try this just one more time. See if we can get it. So anyway, yeah, Hillstream Loach. Share screen. Cleaner Tropicals. Share. And let's see if he gets it. I don't know. Oh, and it looks like what's that little catfish right below the hill stream? Can't think. Brain's not working. All right, we're gonna get rid of the smoky shines. I've managed to thoroughly screw myself up here, I think. Get rid of that. And get rid of that. Is it going to go away? Eventually. It's frozen. I don't know what's going on here. I think I better not play around again. Oh, look at this. I think I managed to screw things up royally. There we go. Okay, we got that. RS, I have to move 1,400 miles away. Take at least 2 days to get there. How do I move my 26 guppies with me? Caught them in a river, don't want to abandon them. Put them in put them in a larger container and with a lid on it, and they'll be fine. And that's not they're tiny little fish. You put them in a larger body of water, 2 days, they'll be fine in there actually. If you put them in a big bag, a big plastic bag, this is how to do it. Large plastic bag with about 2 inches of water, put them in that and a lot of air, tie the bag off, and they'll be good. They'll be good in there for a week. That's all you need to do. Have you seen the new Barbie film? No. And I don't think I will. Somebody get him a MacBook. Oh, I tried it once. It befuddled me and frustrated me to the point where I took it back. I couldn't even deal with it. There were too many simple things that I'm used to doing that I couldn't do. Just all things that were automatic on Windows that are not automatic on Mac. And I got frustrated to the point I couldn't figure out how to do them. They were basic things. I kept fish over the years, but they always died. Never knew about plants and dirt in tanks. There wasn't any internet, but by watching YouTube, learned so much from you and many other aquariums. Gamer, good to have you with us. Thank you. Salient Aquatics has a link. Except I ain't gonna do it right now. The link is for your crew. Man Cave Motorsports. Can't believe all the money I wasted. I hear that. Yeah, my firm belief is you should spend money on fish. Melted butter. Costa Rican emergent plant emanating from the top of the tank. Good idea, melted butter. No young cricket. There's a lot of videos, fatherfish, of how to set up a planted tank and how to be successful. Simply deep substrate, enough light, and you should be okay. About it. Man Cave Motorsports. I'm going backwards here. I have 3 resurrection jars, 1 inch of dirt, 2 inches of sand. I sprinkle a bit of leaves and twigs twice a week. I can see new growth already and happier fish. Very good. Very good. And I thought I gave you a wrench. I did. Just hadn't shown up yet. I'm going to stop going backwards. I'm getting lost. Let's see. Straight out of Cornwall just got deleted for first is the trouble, then comes the karate. Well, there's a call. I don't know. That would have to have some earlier justification. There's a mistake in the bottom of my fish tank. Says love of food. It's a day old, no fishes, but some brine shrimp. They died, no salt in the water. What do? You put brine shrimp in your new tank. That's peculiar, with no fish in the tank. First day you put brine shrimp in. What were you planning to do? They died. I would suggest you leave them alone. Just don't do anything. I mean, how bad can it be? How many brine shrimp did you put in there? A half a pound or something? I mean, if it's a few brine shrimp, even a few 100 brine shrimp, it's really not going to do much. Just let it sit there, let it stew, let it do its thing. If it gets a little cloudy for a day, it's going to clear up the next day. It will be fine, and it will cycle the tank. It'll build up the bacteria foundation. So not to worry, it's okay. Just don't put fish in until it's cleared up. What kind of lights do I have on the tank behind you? Says Paul Cohen. Well, these are LEDs. And I got these on Amazon. They're pretty cool. Whoa! That'll wipe you out. Look at that. That's 100 watt. They're pretty impressive. The problem, you can tell the problem with LED. If you look at this, you'll see there's a dark spot right here. And that's because there's a gap right here. The beams of LEDs go straight down. They don't fan out unless there is some kind of a curve, a concave reflector built in to where the LED is that allows it to reflect out. But it needs to be not concave but convex. Can't do it. That needs to be convex so it reflects out. Sometimes they'll reflect out a few degrees. You can see it's coming right about here. So it's a bit, maybe 15 degrees. Here, maybe 15 degrees. And maybe 15. It's pretty close. But that's clearly a dark spot back there. And the same here. It's a dark spot here. It's not as bright. This light isn't as bright. I don't know why. They're identical, I think. It's supposed to be. You know what? It's not. It's maybe a different, I think it's a different manufacturer. Let's see. Yeah, this is the one that's on the where's it was. It's not as bright. These fancy ones with all the funny blinky stuff like that. And see that? There's red. There it is. Red, green, blue, you can't see. And then it blinks. It does. Look at that. See, it's flashing. Different colors. Just all just worthless. That's a yellow light. There's white. That's got a little red in it. Maybe I'll leave it like that. I think these, without this little device to change their color, are better. I don't know what these are called. If I got, you know what? I bought new ones, and I got the wrong ones. I got these LED floodlights, which is like the one in the middle. It's not nearly as good as the other one, which is cheaper. It's this guy. Whoa. Can't tell what this is called. It's upside down. Anyway, it's 100 watt LED, and I really like it. No young cricket. How many pandas do you have and what size tank? I was talking to David. Monique, back off a little, honey. You're pushing it too hard. Erie is a clown, and he's just trying to be funny. He's not doing anything that needs to be censored. Just if you see something that is clearly vulgar, clearly intended to be insulting, then go ahead and time him out. But just don't get, you're getting a little carried away. Daily Dose. First time joining your live. Can you please give me advice on my goldfish having severe ick that isn't improving with heat and salt? Get the heat up higher. It is not warm enough, and you probably don't have enough salt, because either one of them would solve the problem. 86, 87 degrees, and you want, I'll get this right, a tablespoon of salt per gallon if what you are using is not working. And give it a couple of days. It'll take a couple of days. Rafael Dionisio Mendoza. How do you care for discus fish? Shall I show you how I care for discus fish? See if I can do this. Ugh. All right, we're off to the races here. Let me see if I can do this without wrecking everything. Okay. All right, we're gonna do this. Look at these guys. This is a deep substrate dirted tank that's been set up about a year. It's got a lot of bluefin killies in it and some apistogrammas. It also has a bunch of baby apistos in here. There's one right there. There's another one right there. There are about 20 baby apistos in here that are now about 2 months old. There's another one right there. And these guys, let me give them some food. This food I'm feeding is a Japanese product. I sell it on my webpage. It is the highest grade fish that's available, fish food. It's 50% protein. It's made in Japan for the Japanese fish market. It is not available, to my knowledge, it is not available in the US other than through special distributors to fish farmers and other commercial entities. So as a commercial entity, I carry it, I use it, I repackage it, and I sell it. And these guys are crazy for it. I've had these, I'll get a little more light on them here. I've had these guys for, I don't know, 6 weeks maybe. About. Look, I'm hiding from the light. These are Steindecker discus. Got them from Super Cichlids in Dover, Delaware. They're the new breeders in the U.S. for Steindecker discus. And they got these in. These were actually born in Germany. They had a special tank of excuse me, of discus that came in with bigger ones and were kind of bullied. So they've separated them all out and put them in a tank by themselves. And I went through that and selected out a few I really liked. They are not colored up much in here. And I assume it's because of the tannins in the water. They seem healthy enough, but they're also young. So that could be a factor as well. I'm going to move them. I'm setting up a 50-gallon cube that'll sit on my bedroom bureau. Once I get that up and running and operating, I'm going to move them. I'm going to move them into that. But you can see they're perfectly healthy. And I don't do anything. I do not do water changes. They've been the whole time they've been here. I have not done water changes at all. I've done top off once, maybe twice. I've added more plants to it. You see a bunch of banana plants down there. And I use this. This is a corkscrew valve. I harvest it out of here to sell, so it's a plant that some of you have as well. And the bananas, of course, I'll also harvest out of here. So there they are. Now, up above, I have a pair of crebensis in here with babies. And I don't know if you can see them. Well, she just started. But they're babies sitting on top of that filter. I saw one move. I don't now. I don't know how many she has. I don't think it's more than a very few. And there are two little cories in here, two panda cories, which I'm concerned about, but I can't catch them because they're very net shy. They won't come to the front of the tank. And I don't want to tear the tank up to get them out. But I remember seeing a picture of cories eating baby guppies. So I have every reason to believe that they are threatening the cribies in here. They did not have very many. I don't know how many there are, maybe half a dozen tops. I'm going to just let them go and see if they'll get big enough to actually be able to count how many are in there. But this is checkerboard cichlids in here. See one at the top. Platies, there's one down below. Saltwater tank. These are the little pup fish. They have finished spawning. I have not seen babies. It may be there's too much other predation in there. I also haven't cleaned it. You can tell from the algae on the glass. I need to get in there and clean that up. It's kind of a mess because I don't have proper materials for the tank. I've got scrungy algae. Um, so I need to try to get out and get some better plants for that. This is everything wild in here. Everything came out of the bay, including the little killie, killie, killie fish. And I got a turtle over there who's swimming around. 1, 2, 3, we do them all. We did them all. Harry, ooh. Let's see if we can see anything. Got a resurrection jar here. Let me take the lid off a bit. Snails. I'm having trouble getting macro fauna. I got lots of microfauna. No macrofauna. No scuds. No Daphnia. I need to get Sailor Rick to send me some of his scuds and Daphnia that he's bragging on all the time. Alrighty. So there's how I care for discus. Did I give you a wrench? I did. Ricky. Natalie, putting such leaves in your tank is exactly what Father Fish says to do. Clean or fish all depends on what you're running and what you want to clean. Well, that's true enough. Daily dose. Let's get daily dose of wrench. Whoops, I already did. It's my first time joining you live. Can you please give me advice? Yeah, we did that. That's right. That was the ick thing. So more salt, more heat. And then we got these. Shoo-dee-doo. Let's move down a bit. I'm still way up at 614, and that's half an hour ago. I think what I'll do is just jump to the bottom. So I'm jumping to the bottom, which means if I have missed you, yeah, Gary needs a hurt feelings for Gary Stein says. Funny. And the drunk Gary first has gone full stalker mode. Oh, don't jump on Erie. There he is. He's back. Now he's getting in trouble. Now he's doing it. Look at this. Getting all over Donna. Ed the drunk. Gone full stalker mode. Really, I think. Thomas Litchie. Thanks, Father Fish, for opening my eyes. I had so many misconceptions about nature, the resurrection jar. I know, Thomas. I know. Ain't it awful? We're taught, here's the thing, you got to understand how this society we're living in works. This is the scientific society. We're the scientific people. Now, what that means is you got to compare this to an ancient primitive civilization, because we ain't no different than ancient primitive people. The witch doctors have been teaching us over and over again that they are in control of nature. Okay? I mean, they're clear about that. And they've been telling us over and over and over. So we obey the witch doctors when they tell us to send them shekels and give them authority to be able to control everything. You see, it's the ancient priest standing at the door of the temple, shaking his fist and threatening the foolish masses for not paying him all that he's worth and sending down his wrath on the poor suckers. That's all it is. A faint heart never won the fair maiden. I think that's probably true, Harry. Loretta Kenny set up a 55-gallon tank with sand topsoil. Is the sand from Lowe's okay to use? List over 600. And Fancy Guppy's going to try. You set up a tank, see if I can keep them alive. If you say so, Loretta, go for it. You'll do it. It'll work. You'll be amazed. And this is it. This is it. I mean, it's just this simple. Everything you've been taught about how human ingenuity improves on nature. Now, I'll grant you soap and water and keeping the floor swept and making it a hard floor rather than a dirt floor, moving out of the cave into a windowed building. Modern medicine, to the extent that can give you a new knee and a new hip and fix your heart, that's all good. All the medications, the chemicals, I'm not so up on that. I just want to test every single one of them, because I find some of them have effects I don't like that are worse than the condition they're trying to correct. So you gotta use your native sense. And here's the thing, folks. Here's really where it's at. We live in a society that constitutionally grants absolute rights within the constraints of criminal law and civil law, the right to live your own life the way you want to live it. Now, that doesn't mean you get to beat up on people. Doesn't mean you need to rob, that you get to rob from people. But it does mean you can't be told what to put in your body, shall I say, or take out of it, so long as it's part of your body and not another body. But that's really the bottom line. We don't need to believe every single word the hucksters want us to believe, because all they're trying to do is make a couple of shekels. You know, I mean, that's all I'm trying to do. Make enough money to survive. What I try to do is provide something that's going to be beneficial, that's going to help. It doesn't always, but it usually does. Because I make a serious effort not to do something that's going to create a chemical dependence, that's going to be foreign from a natural kind of product. So just pay attention to that and trust nature and what nature is doing of a beneficial sort, not of a destructive sort, over what you're being told. Don't swallow whole every admonition that you hear, because most of them are lies. Most of it is deceit. Most of it's an attempt to con you into doing something that is not going to benefit you, but is going to benefit the person you're giving out your shekels to. So be cautious. You are responsible ultimately for yourself. Don't give that authority to anyone else. It is yours. That is your most precious commodity, is to be responsible for your own life. You get to a point you can't do it, make sure those who are responsible are loving you honestly and sincerely, caring for you, and being sacrificial of their time and effort for your benefit. That means family, normally, not always, but normally. This can be a tricky road to hoe. That's why we need God in our life, to help us focus and stand firm and upright and straight and know which way to go and know what to do. Like all that there. Thanks, CD, but are you drunk? He may well be. Ed the drunk. He may well be. 650. We're good. Bernard Plymers, do you ship to the UK? No, I do not. But we are trying to get somebody lined up in the EU who will be able to ship to the UK. I have someone in Scotland who I simply haven't put the question to yet, but plan to do so, about manufacturing the supplement and providing it to patrons in the kingdom. G Platt, thanks guys. Does contractor sand work for a cat? Any sand will do. Some of it has clay in it. Some of it is just it has a lot of very fine particulate matter. Some of which is too fine to even precipitate. So you might want to wash it. If you gather sand, typically from the surface, it'll be pretty well washed by rainwater. If you buy sand like pool filter sand, that's pretty clean. Most contractor sand, play sand, those kinds of things really need to be rinsed. Unless there is a caveat, and it's a good one, and it's one to be aware of. If you put the sand in on top of the dirt before you add water, which you should do anyway, and then put something on top of that before you add the water, so that when the water comes in, it doesn't stir the sand up. If you will do that, you can put unwashed sand in that tank, and it will be better than if it were washed. Now, why is that? Because the particulate matter will do a better job of housing bacteria, and it will contain perhaps some nutrients as well if it's a clay base. So that is a beneficial way to do it, of doing it, and it will also precipitate. As it's in the sand, it'll keep precipitating down through those larger grains. So you can do it that way if you're careful, and it works brilliantly, and you can use the dirtiest sand you've got. By dirt, I don't mean rotten muck. I do mean clay and other dry matter. Can we please talk about African cichlids, says Caleb. You betcha, Caleb. I've been doing African cichlids. I don't have any right now. I want to get Pentagoniacas. That's really the next one I'm after, shell dwellers or some of the others. Since 1960, 68, 69, when they first started coming in, and we were only getting wild caught. And they were little devils. They would catch them in Malawi. These were all Malawi. It's before anybody knew about Lake Victoria or Tanganyika. These were Malawis. They were all Umbunas. And they would come in, you could sex them we figured that out right away. But you couldn't put them together because the male would kill the female 100% of the time. So what we did was we set them up in a 10-gallon tank with a divider in the middle. And we fed them to get them beefed up, get the female egged up, get the male ready to go. And the minute they were trying to get to each other, not the male trying to kill the female, but the female trying to get to the male, we lifted the glass, they would come together, they would immediately spawn. He would pick up the eggs. Is it he or she? It's been too long. He or she. Who picks up the eggs? The female picks up the eggs. Is that right? I think so. Female picks up the eggs. Then immediately, as they were finished spawning, back down goes the divider. That's how we did it. And then we let them carry it. We let her, the female, we let her carry them for 30 days until she spit them out. And we separated them all out into their own tank. And as they grew up together, they were not nearly as combative. So that's how we used to do it. It ain't a bad system, frankly. It really isn't. Because it guarantees you high quality fish that aren't tearing each other up. Here's the problem with Africa, with Malawis, with all of the Malawis, the whole bunch of them. The peacocks, the Umbunas, all of them. They fight. The males fight. They are aggressive fish. And they fight to the death. They fight to kill. They fight to drive off their opposition. And when you're in a tank, there ain't no off place to get to. You can hide in the corner only for so long. Eventually, you're going to get driven out of the tank or killed. So, a tank of Umbunas 55-gallon tank, you put half a dozen to a dozen little 1-inch fish in there. They're beautiful, they're lovely, they swim around, they're busy, they're active, they get bigger, they start spawning, there are more babies, you got a lot of rocks in there, and then they reach a point where the males are simply out for blood. And they will go at each other tooth and tong until one of them no longer survives. And that will go on to the last man standing. Usually takes about a year. Makes it real tough to keep them long term in a community situation anyway. Now it can be done, it is done with a big tank and lots of cover, you can do it. And by lots of cover, I mean a mountain of rock, not two or three, a mountain. 75% of the tank full of rock, lots of it. That'll allow them to escape pretty much. All right, G Platt. Did we give you? We did not. Get you a wrench. Let's see how we're doing. We're an hour in, aren't we? Just about. And we've got 125 folks here. We're doing good. Other than that, African cichlids are wonderful. Now, here's where I'm at this point is I want to do the Tanganyikas. I want to get a breeding colony of Julidachromis. I don't know anyone who has a breeding colony of Julidachromis, and they are spectacular fish. 3 different species. Ornatus, I'll never remember. Been too long ago. But stunningly beautiful fish. I've had them cross with other stuff, which I don't like much because they're kind of muddy. But that's what I'd like to do anyway. Oh, dearie. Erie is getting carried away here. Just don't cross over the line. Don't do a Lee. Buick KPP 78. Hello. Oh, paradise fish make African cichlids look like the Pope. That's the truth. That's the truth. When water evaporates, does it remove tannins of the water and raise pH up? Interesting. No, it does not remove tannins. Does it raise the pH? Yeah, but it doesn't. It does it at such a marginal level that you're really not likely to notice it, unless 50% of the water evaporates, or a 25%. You're not likely to notice it. Stan Pittman setting up a new 60. Going to use plain land at 1 inch, then 1 inch of full send for the cap. Get some dirt, just garden soil, or soil from a wooded area. Great Dane's Creations, when putting in leaf litter, slowly reducing CO2 or just stop injecting CO2. What I would do first, Great Dane, is whatever your substrate is, cap it with 2 inches, a minimum 1, preferably 2 inches of sand. That will create an environment that will generate CO2. So if you do that first, then when you cut the CO2 off, you're not depleting anything from the plants. They will be able to absorb that CO2 through their roots, believe it or not. They really do. Thomas Litchie, West Virginia Hollow Girl. He says, me too, except I'm new in the hobby. Still the three times a log shrimping, clean water, but father fish, I can break all the rules. I have a 20 long and hot sun, and it's all fun. You betcha. Bernard Plymers, the king of aquatics, nature's finest. You go, Bernard. Ed the Drunk, my new favorite cichlid are Dempsey's. Got 3 electric blues. They're the stars of my tank. Dempsey's are one of the first cichlids that were brought into the hobby. Way back before angels, before Oscars, before nearly any other cichlid, there were Jack Dempsey's, because they are absolutely spectacular. The colors on Jack Dempsey are like nothing else. They are jewel encrusted. They're stunningly beautiful fish and not horribly aggressive. They've been around a long, long time, and as such, don't get nearly the creds that they deserve. Now, the electric blues are a slower growing version. They're a morph. They're a morph of the regular Dempsey. They grow much more slowly. They are not nearly as hardy. They certainly are scrumptiously beautiful fish. I don't know of anyone who has spawned them, although clearly they have been spawned or they wouldn't be available in the quantities they are. They likely are spawned with a common and threw off increased numbers of morphs. It's not it's not a fish that occurs the way guppies. If you breed a blue guppy and a red guppy, you're going to get blue and red guppies. The electric blue is not like that. It's a morph, like an albino is a morph. It's a separate genetic variation of the regular Dempsey. The story, and I've had this discredited, but I still choose to believe it because I've seen it. In Brazil, the Dempsey breeders, one of them at least, noticed that there were these little belly scooters, baby belly scooters, that were dark jet black little tiny babies scooting around on the bottom that died off. Well, he started pulling them out and setting them up in their own tank and feeding them, getting them up off the bottom, getting them to begin to develop as a normal fish. And that they are the electric blue Dempseys. That's what they are. They are a genetic morph from the regular blue Dempsey. They're not some kind of a hybrid. They're not a hybrid. They're a morph. It's a difference. So when you breed an electric blue with a regular Dempsey, you don't get something in between. You get electric blue and regular Dempseys. You will get more of the electric blues than what happened incidentally. By incidentally, it's 1 in 1,000 or even 1 in 10,000. Extremely rare. It's the way morphs are. They're extremely rare. Morphs account for a lot of evolution, a lot of the changes that occur in an animal species over periods of time. And it does not need to be vastly long periods of time. If something happens genetically in a spawn and it throws out even half a dozen morphs, and they are viable, healthy and viable, and they grow. They may grow quicker. They may even eat all of their siblings. They can become a dominant species, subspecies, if you will, a dominant morph in 1 to 2 generations. It can happen very quickly. And that happens. Doesn't happen all the time, doesn't even happen very often, but it does happen. So again, not all evolution is slow and gradual. Some of it is spontaneous. It just suddenly occurs and it's out there and it's viable and it's strong and it's healthy and it manages to create a niche for itself. And it thrives and it interbreeds either with its own kind or with a parent or a sibling. And because it's genetically similar, it'll spawn more of them. And within 2 generations, it's established as a viable population. That's frankly the way a lot of tropical fish are determined, are discovered. The colored discus is a perfect example. The high colored discus, which does not exist in nature, it occurred in 1 generation. And it occurred based on one morph in a huge breeding operation in Malaysia, I believe. Someone was visiting a friend who had a big discus farm, and he spotted a single small fish in a pool of thousands. And he managed to catch it. He took it home, grew it out, and spawned it. And out of that came the pigeon blood, the reds, the sapphire blues, all of the high colored discus came out of that single fish. That occurred 20, 25 years ago. A sudden, instantaneous change in the genetics of an individual item, a single species of a single animal in a single species, generated an entire new population. That's how a lot of it works. There is also the gradual, and you see this in guppy breeding, where it takes generations of adding, subtracting, combining in order to get a certain configuration of finnage, a certain color pattern, and so forth. And then by breeding them back to each other, you get a strain that is solid and duplicates itself 100% of the time. Not many like that. The first one was the German half black red. That was 50 years ago, more, 60 years ago. The German half black red was probably the very first hybrid strain of guppies that bred absolutely true every time. It's still around. You can still find it. It's a remarkable fish. All right, let's jump down here a bit. Work with nature, not against it, says Thomas Litchi. Straight out of Cornwall. Yeah. Oh, I see. So Cornwall and Erie are timing each other out. That's good. That's good. Started something worthwhile there. Rafael Gonzalez, JTTR. I found that tannins will reduce in color, but not fully, usually for major water changes. Yeah, that which is not really the same. It's not. They're not dissipating. Um, yeah, and they reduce in color based on the organics in the tannins being consumed, as opposed to the dyes in the tannin, which are not. Dash drones, thanks, Fatty Fish. Ick is finally gone. That was a struggle, wasn't it? He had Ick in his barbs, I think. Tiger barbs? Am I right? I think. And it took a week, more than a week. All right. I'm not going to go back and try to figure out anything like, is 300 enough? You guys are going to have to deal with each other. Mit's Factory. Well, I lost it that quick. Caleb Taylor, Mitch Schaefer, Matt Schaefer. What's your thoughts on C-Chem stability? I don't even want to get into it. I really don't. If what C-Chem stability is created to do is allow for a certain natural process to occur, then why in the world do you need it? Just let the natural process occur. If it's natural, it's natural. It doesn't need to be done synthetically. If our plants need nitrogen and we can't add fertilizers, what do we do? Depend on nature to create nitrates, because that's what nitrogen comes from, is nitrates. And what do nitrates come from? Ammonia. And what does ammonia come from? It is the waste of our critters. So it is generated naturally in the system. You don't need to add it. It's already there. You can go out into wild water and get free C-Chem stability. There you go, Taylor. That's right. That's it. Matt, did I give you a wrench? Yes, I did. You'll get it. And Ed says, Joe, stop cleaning up all the poo. Plot twist. Straight out of Cornwall. It's eerie. We are the same person. I believe it. I do believe it. DPK Fish Aquariums, KS Preeper. Depends on the plants you want to keep. Some plants don't do well with aquarium salt, and some do okay with lower dose. There are also a lot of aquarium plants, such as swords and stem plants, that live in brackish water. And I know this because I have collected them in brackish water. So a lot of our plants are brackish plants and will do extremely well in a bracket. I'm saying all this and I'm looking at this mess I got. I need to do it. I need to put, I got to figure out what. I need to put some of my heavy leaf plants in that brackish tank and see if I can clean up the mess in there. I'm going to do it this week. That's a job for this week. As a matter of fact, I got 2 leftover bags of plants in the fridge and it's sitting there for 2 weeks that I will not sell. I'm going to pull them out and separate out the ones that are going to do well in brackets, put them in there and see how they do. Now, it's going to be rough because they're going to go from fresh to brackish. So they may not survive that. But at this point, they're struggling to survive anyway. So we'll see what happens. I don't boil my driftwood, says Margie K. I'm concerned about my tank. Good for you, Margie. Good for you. Have I ever done a video on the $59 AAA plant package? Matt, I have not. And that's a really, really good idea. I may well do that this week. I'm scouting about looking for something to do. A video on it. That actually is a good idea. I may do that because there's so many things there. You're getting 15 different kinds of plant. 15 plants, 15 bunches of plants, no less. and there are 15 different species of plant. So yeah, I think it's a good idea. Well, let's go through that. I do have some people over on our Fatherfish Shoal who are working on just that. They're describing the plants, and we did, but I don't have the stem plants listed separately on my in my store. I've got them listed as a single package item. So I probably need to do something about that. At least list them. It changes somewhat, but it's basically what I'm getting is I get 20 species. This week it went up to 50 each. Do the math real quick to know what I'm shipping out. 20 species of 50 each. I separate them out into packages of 16. So you get 16 different varieties in a package. I did 40 last week. That was 59, 49. 49 orders. It always seems to be short 2 or 3. Don't understand why, but it somehow always is. um, anyway, I'm going to do that, and we're going to work on that. That's a really good idea. Anthony AZ Baby, is it normal for baby fries to grow up and mate with their moms? Absolutely. They don't know the difference. They really don't. And within, if you keep that within 2 generations, you rarely will have a problem with bent spine or some other malfactor. Typically, it will simply reinforce the genes. In fact, a lot of breeders, guppy breeds in particular, will do that in order to solidify a certain trait. They'll breed it back to a parent, a female to the father, a male to the mother, in order to lock in that factor, whatever it is, and then move forward from there. Did I give you a wrench, Anthony? I did. Oh, straight out of Cornwall. Hi, this is Father Fish. Erie can't come. I'm not going to deal with you guys selling this. Honestly. Wish there was a cycle for cat poop. Yeah, well, ah, nasty stuff. Nasty stuff. We need to get these guys a room somewhere. Just put them in a locked room. Ah, it nitrates. Boy, I tell you, this thing moves so fast. Are still showing your plants aren't taking everything. Maybe the particular plant doesn't like being in gravel. Hard to say, um, but generally that's true. And it's not that they don't like it; it's that there are not enough of them to deal with the rise in nitrates. A rise in nitrates, however, is not toxic. Nitrates are not toxic; they're nutrition. Get over it. When they reach the point where they have exceeded all expectations, there are other plants that come in and take over. What time is it here? And I'm gonna have to take a break. I'm sorry. I don't like to do this, but I'm an old man. Back in a moment. All right. There. All better. Eelgrass, tape grass, some hydrophilia do survive in brackish and semi-brackish. Right. Now those are rooted plants. Those are plants that have crowns. They are not stem plants. Hydrophilia, some of the hydrophilia do stand corrected. Nice, TPK. Best sense, the little aquarium frogs add any dynamic to the fish tank. How about ghost shrimp? Well, the ghost shrimp are a cleaner. The aquarium frogs, the dynamic they add is a dynamic of joy. I think they got joy to the aquarium. They're funny little animal. They're not a fish. And so they don't swim around like a fish. Rafael Gonzalez. All poop is protein. No, it's not. There is protein in it, but not a lot. Most of the protein is taken out of it before it becomes poop. That is the digestive process. Yeah, I'll work on that video. That's a good idea. Erie first says, sink your wood outside. That way it'll be ready made. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Matt Schaefer ordered 2 of those from you this week to get them tomorrow. Whoops. What's he talking about? Tomorrow? Not unless something got bad delayed. We shipped out. Our last shipment was Thursday, which should have been delivered on Saturday. We try not to ship on Thursday. Try to ship Tuesday and Wednesday. Last week we got short circuited by the holiday, so we had to ship Wednesday and Thursday. We did ship some on Tuesday. That was mostly the dirt, but we couldn't do the plants. I think we did all the plants on Wednesday, though. I think. And then Thursday was dirt again. So typically Monday we ship soil, the substrate, the supplement. Tuesday we ship plants. And then Wednesday, whatever comes in Tuesday and Wednesday morning. And then I try not to ship on Thursday. As I said, this past week we were stuck for it because we lost a day. But normally we're not going to ship and get stuck on that long weekend. I want to be able to get stuff to you in 2 days, not 3 and 4. Matt, what did you order 2 of? Anthony has a baby. Why are bumblebee broadies eating all my plants? I don't know. I don't know. If you gradually acclimate them, been done in a month or 2 months without chucking. I'll work on that. I don't know how brackish. I guess I ought to get my hydrometer out and check it and see what the level is. I haven't done that. It may not be nearly as. It's lower bay water, which is saltier than upper bay water, but I've never checked it. Lower bay water is about 0.09, 0.10, 0.11, under 12. Upper bay, lower, that's upper bay, lower bay. It's lower than that even, like 7 or 8. I don't know. I'll check it. Erie, good question. Joe West. It's not gravel, it's father fish method. 1 inch of dirt, 2 inches sand. Newest tank, 7-week-old tank, cycled 2 weeks ago. Mix of plants, doing it to a brown. I have brown hair algae, like Bob Marley's Tourette's. It will pass. If you want to keep cleaning it, you can do that. Just use a net and swish it around. It'll pass. It's a phase. Get more plants in there. That would be the best single advice. Get more plants. Algae is not as effective at absorbing nutrients as plants are. So the plants are going to get them first at the table. So more plants are going to starve out algae. Rocky Fair Gaming. I don't clean my tank at all. Is that okay, or should I? I usually will, if I need to, I'll scrape the glass, the front. I have not cleaned the front of this in a long time. I don't remember when. Now, if you look very carefully, you'll see it's almost covered in very tiny dots of green algae. So if I cleaned it, it would look clearer. But I kind of leave it because, well, there are certain spots where there's more light and it's getting a little thicker. But it's still not even all that apparent. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll just go through and scrape it down, and I'll do half of it and see if we can see the difference. I think it will make a difference. It's not that there's nothing there. It's that it's infinitesimal. It's very tiny. But it's a lot of it. It's really covered in very tiny specks of green algae. I can see it if I look carefully. Gonna do that. It gets past me. I don't notice it because it doesn't really block being able to see anything. I reckon if you dug down deep enough in this substrate, you'll find Roman coins. I have a video I did a couple, 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, nearly 2 years ago, where I was converting one of these 29s in Florida to a brackish water tank. And I actually went through, had 2 of them. One of them I left the old substrate in, the other one I cleaned it out. In the process of cleaning it out, this is a tank that had been set up with that substrate for nearly 20 years. It was set up early when I established the aquarium, and I just carried it over and kept it going. I was astounded. People were laughing about it. We did it live. It was on live stream. All the stuff that was coming out of there. It was amazing. And yes, I think there was a coin. It wasn't a Roman coin, but it was a coin. Lots of lead weights. Oddball stuff. Things that fell into the tank that just kind of went under. It was really amazing. How long to get a self-sufficient tank? Says Margie K. 1 day, Margie. 1 day. That's all it takes. Day 1. Cap it with 2 inches of sand. That's it, Jenny. That's it. Raphael, I used my shop vac hose. It's a very large. Cleaned it well. Used to send sand. Unearthed the bottom of tank. Less pollutants. I don't know what you do. What did you do? Used it to send sand and earth to the bottom. I have no idea. Alexis, but I have fish in it. I don't know what they're telling you, Alexis, but take it with a grain of salt. You can't always trust these guys. What happened here? Did I give her? I thought I gave her a wrench. Didn't work. One more time. There we go. Best sense to use. Do you use any sort of bubbler? I use heaters when I have fish that require a stable temperature. Um, I use bubblers. Right now, I've got one going in my turtle tank because it got kind of yucky, and that's cleared it up pretty well. Um, I normally don't use bubblers. I normally use a sponge filter. It's the same thing. You get the added benefit of the filter. Put 8 more green neons in. Wow. I have got to get green neons. That is such a stunning fish. And this tank would be wonderful for them because they're smaller than regular neons and just super hardy. I need to get a bunch of them, about 25 of them. Oh, Matt ordered 2 of the AAA on Thursday the 7th. He must said should arrive tomorrow. You should have gotten it yesterday, Saturday. That's the post office holding on to things they shouldn't hold on to. It should be okay. Um, we got those on Wednesday this week. They came out of the pond on Tuesday. So it's going to be 6 days out of the pond. They should be fine. If they're not, let me know, please, Matt. Just send me an email if they're wilted or anything is yucky. If they don't come in and if they're not in perfect condition, I want to know about it. And I will replace what I need to. So just keep me posted. As I said, normally we don't do that. We were just kind of stuck because of the holiday, and I did not want to hold them until Monday to ship them. So I got them out as quickly as I could. Normally they would be in the mail by Wednesday at the latest. But they should be okay. Get them in water right away. Richard Gilks for Substrate. Should I use volcanic rock gravel, pond soil, and cap with sand? How does that sound? Yeah, that's okay. The volcanic rock gravel is of no particular value. Um, what I would do, frankly, if you like it, is put it on top of the sand rather than down in the soil. It's not going to do anything of any value in the sand. You're better off, below the sand, in the dirt. You're better off getting coir or peat moss or sphagnum instead of the volcanic rock. If you'll do that instead of the pond soil, even crushed up leaves, just grind up leaves and mix that in with the pond soil, that would be better. And then cap that with sand. Then put some of those rocks on top. They are pretty. Volcanic rock is nice. Do that, and then add some leaves, some wet leaves to the top of that. Where can I go to order plants from you? Let me post the link right there. Uh-oh. I don't want to do that. Cancel. Okay. Almost messed myself up. Okay, there's the link for our Shopify store. Stephen Musgrave set up a fatherfish tank and it's all good. Bravo. Gonna give you a wrench there, Stephen. Cornwall. Have you ever thought about putting a GoPro in your tank for footage? I did it once with some angels, and they were very curious about it. They kept swimming around it. They were talking with each other about it. We did a little funny voiceover with it. That was back in the shop. That video is 3, 4 years old. You'll probably find it if you look hard. It was a conversation among fish about a camera in their tank. Yeah, and I'll tell you, it's a wonderful thing to do. I've got a couple of GoPros. I need to figure them out. I put it off because I haven't had to deal with it. But that would be a nice thing to do with a GoPro. It makes me nervous when I have to transport video from one piece of equipment to another. I get all uptight about it. I need to get over that and make it something that I look forward to and excited about, which means I need to become successful at doing it. I'm getting better. Good idea, Cornwall. It's okay, Alexis. Add sand to that gravel. Just put an inch of sand right on top of it. It's going to sift down in it. It'll pack it. It'll work brilliantly. It'll be absolutely perfect. It's never too late. Never too late. Never too late. Do it. Do it. Oh, Erie is leaving us. There it is. Richard Gilks planned on aquascaping with big pieces. Nice. Nice. Good night, Erie. Ed's going to go find his GoPro. It is cool. It's a really fun thing. And you get a very different perspective than simply looking into a tank. It's funny. It's because the fish are swimming around it. They go over it, they go past it. It's a totally different feel. Nothing in the mailbox. I'll tell you what, guys, if you have a problem, if you're going to have a problem with mail delivery, if they're going to leave it in the mailbox or some such screwball thing, then call the post office and ask them to hold your package and go pick it up. That's so much safer than letting it sit in a hot truck all day long. And they'll do that. They'll be happy to do that. Just call the day before it's due to be delivered. Ask them to hold it and they will hold it. Caleb wants to know what temperature I run my tank. 78 to 82, typically. I don't know what this one is. It's about 70, 78, 78. Look at them. These are such a pretty fish. These, I gotta show you these. These are fundulus. It's a local native. I don't know if it's a killing. I think it is. They're also very shy. The astounding color on them. Look at that. That's the male with the red. And he'll get bigger. He'll get double that size. And that red will get, it's orange now. It'll turn a bright red as they get mature. The females have sparkles. There she is. There's a female. That's a female with some black. It's amazing how shy they are. Margie K. Planning ahead. Beginner fish species. Live bears and tetras. Live bears and tetras and Cory cats. Inland white. Could small amount of bug spray on my arms kill only the acaras? Yes. Yes, it can. There's some fish are more sensitive than others, and I would believe the acaras would be. Lost 3 electric blue acaras, right? Same day after 2 months. Yeah, they're simply a more sensitive fish. And bug spray is pretty deadly stuff. Can I add sand Alexas from a flowing creek nearby on top of my gravel? Absolutely. With fish still in the tank. Absolutely. I saw something yesterday. Tommy Denda posted it. It was not a deep substrate person, but they filled a 2 liter bottle about 2/3 full of dry sand. You could do it with wet sand as well. It would just be more time consuming getting it in there. But pour dry sand in, held their thumb over the end of it, inverted it, put it down in the water, and then just take their finger off and move it around. And the sand fell out right at the surface, right down at the surface. So it's a way of not having to let the sand go all the way through the water column. It's really not an issue. I've done it all my life, and it never creates a problem so long as it's clean sand. But I thought that was kind of a cute approach to putting it in. Yeah, all right. 78.9. I don't think it was point 0.9. I think it was closer to 78. Point 0.9 would feel more like 80. Didn't feel like 80. It is looking good. I'm real happy with it. I'm getting more plants too. And oh, did anyone notice? Did anyone notice? Nobody said anything. What is that? Right there. It's driftwood. And they told me I couldn't do it. And there, you know what that is? Right there. See that? Almost can't see it. It's glass. It's a hunk of glass. And there's another, that's blue glass. I got more back there, another piece of blue glass. Yeah, look how dirty this tank is. I really do need to clean it. Stone, driftwood. Oh, and there's a thing. It's a 7-inch arrow, a point, a 7-inch point. Isn't that incredible? I don't think it's old. I think it was created recently. So driftwood, and I got more. I could do more driftwood. Somebody got on me about it last week, and I realized, yeah, that's right. I don't have any driftwood, and I like driftwood. So should I put tetras first before shrimp and snails, or the other way around? How often do tetras jump out? Should I have a canopy? I always cover plants. If I can find a piece of something to cover it with, I cover plants. And I'll tell you, I cover tanks. And I'll tell you what works really well. If you can find refrigerator drawers, not drawers, shelves. Refrigerator shelves are tempered glass. And they typically are the right size for fish tanks. If it's a long tank, a couple of them. But they're deep enough to go front to back in most tanks. And they're really excellent. I've got them on 1, 2, 3. I got refrigerator drawers on 3 of my tanks. And then I found these funny oval shaped pieces of glass that I've got on my 29s that somebody was throwing away. Oh, so tetras or shrimp and snails? I don't think it matters. I would probably put the shrimp and snails in first. Um, Probably because the snails first, then the shrimp, then the tetras, or then the tetras, then the shrimp. It sort of doesn't matter. Beth Sands just discovered you yesterday as my daughter set up a fish tank all the wrong way a week ago and is losing fish. I posted 3 of your videos on Facebook so she can learn from an expert. Good job, Beth. Good job. Marine Menagerie, proud to see local fish farm, storefront and saltwater room, is now doing a professional setup in offices, homes, it sounds like. Consolidated Fish Farm, Riverview. Nice. Consolidated. So I don't know who that is. Good job. Huh. Species only for breeding. Basically, yeah. Shek is saying don't mix cories unless they're in groups of 3 minimum. Why is my tank not making algae? Says Alyssa. I just don't know. I mean, I really don't know. It's kind of amazing to me. People will bitch and moan and whine and complain that they've got algae, and then comes along someone and says, Why don't I have any algae? Because you're smart, Alyssa, and you got it knocked. That's why. Because you got it figured out. What kind of lights do I have there? LEDs, 100-watt LEDs. Got them on Amazon. Marion, I cover my fish tank as the sun is down. I wake up with natural light in the morning. Is there any advantage to this? Well, it's natural. I don't turn my lights on until the sun's up. I just kind of do it routinely. If I get up like before sunrise, I don't turn the lights on the tanks until there's light in the room from the sunlight. It's just a thing. Rarest fish I've ever seen or owned. That's a really good question. Yet rarity is relative. It's relative to availability. I mean, there are certain fish that are rare in certain places or at certain times, but the rarest fish I've ever had. Okay, I got one. I got one. This will send you all out the door screaming. I got to preface this or I'll just lose it. When I was on the board of directors, the founding board of the National Aquarium, we were setting up displays before the building was built so that we could get displays out to the public and show people what we were about. Well, there was one fish that was available. It was not a live fish. It was a well, it wasn't even dried. It was a mod. It was a dried fish. It was dried actually, because it was the actual fish. Came in. It was about this big, about 2.5, not quite 3 foot. And I took this thing all over the city of Baltimore, and it was easily the rarest fish I've ever had in my possession. Had to turn it back. It came out of, I think, the New York Museum of Natural History. Came from the New York Museum of Natural History. Are there any guesses as to what that fish was? I'm not going to give it away yet. That's too good a lead in. Got a lot of fuzzy algae in my tank. Is that good? Well, it ain't bad. It ain't good, but it ain't bad. Fuzzy algae. It'll be okay. It'll be okay. Get more plants in there. Sand turning black below about half an inch. Is that normal? That is normal. That is the soil drifting up. I can't remember the word that explains that. It's rising up in the sand. That is normal. That's why we do 2 inches, because the dirt's going to come up an inch. What do you call a fish with 10 eyes? I don't even want to. Ralph, hello, Ralph. Stuff my tank with plants today. You go, Ralph. Alexis. I'm going to send you photos, videos of my tank. Very easy. You want to go on the Father Fish Shoal. I'm going to give you the link here in a second. And that will allow you to post videos, pictures. You'll have your own channel. You'll be able to do a series of things. You'll be able to discuss it with me and others. You will be amazed. It will be delightful. And it will be wonderful. And here comes the link. Did I do it? Fridge glass tip. Yep, that's perfect. And it's got a frame around it usually, which makes it doubly safe. And it's tempered. Jason Hamilton. I have enough floaters that don't need lids. Yeah, I get that. That makes sense. Tank 4 months old, can't believe how different it looks from when I first started. Bit of algae and detritus. Everything good, only feeding leaves now. Good job, Andrew. Melted butter, hard water. Grapes grow great. Yeah, they do. Paul Cohen. Instead of a small tank with lights on 24/7. Yeah, that'll grow it. Was it a silicate? Says Jacques. Excellent, Jacques. Yes, it was. It was a silicate. I had in my possession a 2.5 foot silicate for a very short period of time. I think maybe a day, no more than that. But that was the rarest one I've ever had. Of course, it wasn't alive. Now, there have been any number of attempts by public aquaria to keep silicates, and for the life of me, I can't figure out why they can't do it. The silicates, when they spawn at night, the female will bring their fry up to the surface to feed. So they are right at the surface. And if you're out there in the Indian Ocean at the right time and place, you could actually catch a bunch. Now they're protected globally, but I'm sure you could still get a license, a permit, to be able to house them in a public aquarium. I don't know why they're not. I really don't get it. They can't be that hard to keep. I mean, if they've survived millions of years, how hard can it be to keep them in a public aquarium for a year or two? Omara, Omera, 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 Garcia. Tank is a year old, 10 gallon. Good job, Omera. I'll give you a wrench. My friend has a hatchet fish. Alyssa, nice fish. Hatchets are inveterate jumpers. They are leapers. They are flyers. It's actually a flying fish. They don't just jump up and down. They do this. They go. They're really hard to keep. Crystal D. I've got to get to the bottom of this. Over on, here it is, Crystal D. Hey, fatherfish. I have Pilates for a year, and I have them in a fatherfish style aquarium with food web. I've noticed some of them are a tad underweight. You have some tips for keeping them healthy. You may need to supplement food. Don't feel bad about supplementing food. If you've got a lot of fish in the tank, it's really going to be difficult to keep enough infusoria up to feed them. It might work adequately for babies. For adults, it just really won't be enough. Go on, Father Fish, Shopify, and buy some of this stuff. This is the best fish food in the world. It's granular. This is a very small grain. It's about 10, whatever it's called, 10 microbes. What is it called? What am I thinking? 10 millimeter, 10 micrometer. It's tiny, all right, and it's really good. Even smells good. It smells fishy. I keep it in a little pot with a little lid because I think it's classy. Really nice food. No waste. No filler. The fish greedily eat that. I feed it to this tank twice a day. And sometimes I'll just throw a little extra in just to watch him feed. Um, I don't overfeed. I mean, I could feed less. But what's happening is that my females are all beefing up. They're all egging up. So excess food is a help in that respect. It gets your fish to egg up enough so they'll spawn. So if you want them spawning, you really need to feed a little extra. You just don't want to go crazy with it. You know about going crazy? Don't do it. How long does it take to get your plants to take root? The stem plants will begin rooting day one. I've got stem plants that'll have roots, substantial roots in a week. It happens almost instantly. They're chomping at the bit to grow roots. Caleb, that tank been up for months and still cloudy. Only has a couple of air bubblers in it. Sponge filters. Don't do bubblers, do sponge filters. And do the fine foam sponge filter. That's better than anything. Also, add another inch of sand. It may well be you've got detritus in there that's just not able to get down into the sand. Do two things. Do a fine foam sponge filter and another inch of sand, and that should do it. It has 3 inches in it. If you can find a finer sand, the sponge filter should make the difference, though. Also, more plants. Plants will clarify water, and I think it's because the precipitants, the stuff that's cloudy in the tank, attaches to the plants. They suck it in. They seem to filter it out. So the plant also will do that. Add more plants. That should help also. Doom Pie, hello from the Netherlands. Adam Dahlberg, hey Father Fish. Setting up a 20 long, putting in landscape, and I'm foaming in the bottom of the tank. Thinking I could put the mud and sand around the foam. Yeah, I guess. I guess. Um, I've never done foam in water. I've done foam in reptile tanks. I've never done it in water. Mainly because it's full of air. And I don't have a good sense of how that's going to act in water. If you got a few that are skimpy, most are okay. Well, here's the thing: if you got the plant package, you got 16 different kinds of plants. Not all of them are going to thrive. Some will not thrive. Hopefully, none will die, but they may be slower to go, and that's because the soil is not ready for them yet. They want something that's not there yet. If they stay alive and you keep them going, it'll gradually build up, and they'll gradually be able to generate the kind of nutrient that they need in order to be able to grow. This is why you never put fertilizer in a fish tank, because it prevents the plant from being able to release the proper hormones to generate the right nutrient through bacterial activity that it needs for whatever growth phase it is in. And it's different for every growth phase, like stem, root, leaf, flower, See, they're all different. They all require different nutrients in order to be able to be fully healthy. And the plant releases hormones for each one of those nutrients that trigger bacteria to generate precisely that nutrient. Now you go throwing fertilizer in there, and all you do is stop the process cold. It just wipes it out. So a plant is not able to grow naturally if it's fertilized. It may spurt up, but it ain't going to be natural, normal growth. How do you clean the glass in your tank without water changes? I like the magnets. I use the magnets. Should I get one? I might as well. Oh! Where'd he go? Where's my magnet? Oh, they're in. All my magnets are in the tanks. I'm not going to pull them out. The magnets. I think they work real well. I really like them. The one thing you have to watch out, though, that be careful about is to never get a grain of sand on the magnet because it'll scratch the glass. So you want to rinse these well, scrub them with a brush if need be, before you use them to make sure there's no sand there. Otherwise, you're going to get these micro scratches in the glass that eventually will just make it hazy. Perch in the water column. I wouldn't even do root tabs, Asaya. You really don't need it. If you've got the soil, now that's granting that you have a soil foundation. If you got a soil foundation, you do not need root tabs. It's extraneous, and it messes up the natural process. Obviously, if all you got is gravel, then you're stuck for it. But if you've got a dirted deep substrate, don't use any kind of fertilizer. It's counterproductive. It doesn't make it better, it makes it worse. We're at the bottom of the page and we're out of time, boys and girls. It's 8 after 8 and I hit bottom. All right, Miami saying hello, DJ Guppyfish. Hope all good, Padre Pascal, Father Fish. Starting to use dirt sand, 2 to 3 gallon, 10-gallon sand cap starts getting red, not good sign of the tank, doesn't hurt anything. Another one has 3 fish in it. Just keep working at it. Keep working at it. You'll get it. Kind of lights I have on the tank. They're LEDs. I got them from Amazon. Oh, this thing finally went out. I didn't have it plugged in. I was wondering how long it would last. Nearly 2 hours. That's pretty good. So I'll plug it back in and recharge it. All right, we're done. Jacob X line. Give you a wrench, Jacob. And see what you have to say. Recommendations for angelfish mate. Like what pairs will I have a 75? Geophagus. And the geophagus do really well with angels. It's a larger fish like angels. They're not at all aggressive. They're attractive. They're interesting. They're in many ways very similar to an angelfish. That would be a good tank mate. Alrighty. We're down to the bottom. Gary Stein, there can be only one. Greg E, did I give you a wrench? I did not. I did now. Alrighty, love you guys. Wonderful to be with you. It's been fun. Be back next Sunday. Do catch our new video. Came out Friday, doing real well. Real happy with it. And we've got shorts 4 days a week. We do shorts, Monday through Thursday. Try to catch them if you can. Every view helps. I've noticed views are off about 5,000 a day. That's from 50 to 55,000. They're down from 50,000 to 45,000. Just seems odd, and it's been happening for days. Don't know what that's all about or why that is, but I kind of like to get it pushed back up. Um, so please do what you can to support the YouTube channel. Get over there and watch the videos. The new videos are wonderful. If you haven't been watching them, you really need to. They're just brilliantly done. And I'm not bragging on me. I have an editor that does amazing quality work. Some of the best quality, I think, that's done anywhere in any kind of fish fan vid. So do check them out. And we will see you next week. Love you all. Bye for now. Oh, Jason said it's been common criticism. That's kind of what I thought, that it's seasonal. I think it's probably true. Love you all. Bye for now.